Hello and welcome to the day ahead. It is Monday, June the 2nd. I'm Andrew Gagan. Well, the local share market is set to begin with the week slightly higher, with ASX Futures up around 8 points. Global stocks finished down on Friday, but made the biggest monthly gain since late 2023, with sentiment buoyed last week by signs of easing trade tensions. Wall Street's main indices were choppy on Friday and finished mixed as US President Donald Trump accused China of violating a tariff agreement. For the month, the Dow rose almost 4%, the S&P 500 was up more than 6% for its biggest monthly rise since November 2023, and the Nasdaq rallying 9.5%, which was also its biggest monthly gain in more than 18 months. Checking in on the Mag 7 stocks, and they were mixed, with Nvidia down almost 3%. Tesla eased from a 16-week high as Elon Musk stepped away from the Trump administration, with the stock up 2% for the week. On the earnings front, shares of Ulta Beauty jumped after the cosmetics retailer raised its annual profit forecast after beating quarterly results. On the flip side, Best Buy fell after cutting its annual forecast on tariff uncertainty. And US-listed shares of Rio Tinto and BHP fell, with copper prices slipping under pressure from a stronger US dollar. Well, over the weekend, President Trump revealed plans to double tariffs on imported steel and aluminium to 50%, increasing pressure on global steel producers. Australia exported more than $414 million worth of iron and steel and $418 million of aluminium to the US last year, which was about 10% of their output. Trade Minister Don Farrell has called the move unjustified and not the act of a friend. Well, the latest salvo in Trump's global trade war came just hours after he accused China of violating an agreement with the US to mutually roll back tariffs and trade restrictions for critical minerals. Subsequently, US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping will speak soon to discuss the trade dispute, including a dispute over those critical minerals. Meanwhile, US consumer spending increased marginally in April, the Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index edging up 0.1% on the month. Those US Treasury yields slipped on Friday as risk sentiment worsened on concerns of a rekindling trade war. The yield on the 10-year fell to a two-week low to around 4.41%, and the 2-year fell to 3.9% but it was up 29 basis points for the month. And the US dollar was mixed on Friday, but on track for its first monthly gain against the Japanese yen. The Aussie trading at 64.4 US cents, and Bitcoin is trading around 105,000 US dollars. Well, US crude futures fell on Friday as traders expected OPEC Plus would decide to boost oil output for July beyond previous forecasts. Brent crude futures down around 0.5% at $63 a barrel. Copper prices were little changed, iron ore down slightly at around $96 a tonne, and gold prices slipped on Friday as the US dollar edged higher, but it's since recovered to be up around 0.5% at $3,305 an ounce. Well, locally this week, we get home values today from Cotality, as well as the Melbourne Institute Inflation Gauge for May and job ads from ANZ. Tomorrow sees the balance of payments for the March quarter and the minutes from the RBA's last policy meeting. Wednesday, we get GDP for the March quarter, and then on Thursday, international trade balance, as well as household spending for April. Overseas, the US ISM Manufacturing Index comes out tonight, and on Tuesday, US factory orders and job openings for April, while Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaks as well. Wednesday, the Bank of Canada makes its interest rate decision, followed by the ECB on Thursday, and US non-farm payrolls are released on Friday. That's your week ahead. We'll see you again tomorrow.